Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the U.S. and Atlantic Weather News broadcast. We're very glad to have you with us today on this early week edition, one that comes amid an exceptionally dynamic and fast-changing weather pattern stretching all the way from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Basin. Ladies and gentlemen, a particularly complex and energetic phase of weather is now unfolding across the United States and the surrounding tropical waters. At the same time, we are seeing multiple tropical disturbances active at once, a strong cold air outbreak plunging from the north, and a powerful MJO pulse stimulating widespread convection. All these elements are converging to create one of the most active and challenging weather periods of the season, likely to persist for at least the next 10 days. Atlantic Tropics, Invest 95L, Potential Future Storm Jerry. According to the latest update from the National Hurricane Center, NHC, the tropical disturbance tagged Invest 95L continues to organize over the eastern Atlantic, not far from the Cape Verde Islands. This system has been monitored for several days, and as of this morning, the probability of development has been raised to 50% within 48 hours and 70% within 7 days, a clear signal that tropical storm formation is increasingly likely. Satellite imagery shows improving low-level structure and a slowly consolidating center, though mid-level dry air is still limiting convection. If the disturbance overcomes that dry air pocket, it could strengthen and very likely be named Tropical Storm Jerry, the next storm on the 2025 Atlantic list. Leading forecast models, GFS, ECMWF, ICON, and EuroAI, currently agree that this system will track northwestward, curving out to sea before reaching the Lesser Antilles. In that scenario, islands like Antigua, St. Kitts, Barbados, and Guadeloupe would only see occasional showers and gusty winds, with no direct land impact. However, long-range guidance remains uncertain. A few GFS ensemble members still show a lower, more westward path that could bring it closer to the eastern Caribbean, though those odds remain below 20%. Residents across the Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands should continue to monitor forecasts through the week, as even small atmospheric shifts can significantly alter the track. Eastern Pacific, Hurricane Priscilla and its U.S. impacts. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Pacific side, Hurricane Priscilla continues to move parallel to the Mexican coastline, packing winds of 100 to 120 kilometers per hour, 60 to 75 miles per hour. Although direct landfall impacts appear limited, Priscilla's broad moisture plume is surging northward, spreading into the southwestern United States. This will trigger widespread rain and thunderstorms from Arizona and New Mexico into Southern California. Welcome relief for drought conditions, but also a potential setup for flash flooding and landslides in mountainous terrain. Some of this tropical moisture may merge with a frontal trough forming near the Bahamas, potentially spawning a hybrid low-pressure area, a front-induced low, that could evolve into a subtropical or weak tropical system later this week. Both ECMWF and GFS runs indicate that such a system could consolidate just off the east coast of Florida, then track north along the U.S. coastline, bringing heavy rain, strong winds, and coastal flooding to Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and possibly New Jersey. Continental U.S. first major autumn cold blast. Across the mainland United States, the most significant autumn pattern change so far is underway. A powerful Arctic air mass is diving southward through the Great Plains and Midwest, forcing several states, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Idaho, and Utah, to issue frost and freeze warnings. Temperatures across the northern tier will drop 10 to 20 degrees Celsius below average, with morning lows near or below freezing in mountain valleys and single digits Celsius across the central plains. When this cold air collides with moist air from the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico, a long frontal rain band will develop from Texas through Oklahoma and Arkansas into the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes region. Along this boundary, expect severe thunderstorms, strong gusts, and isolated tornadoes, especially over the central and lower Mississippi Valley. For millions across the North and Midwest, this event serves as an early warning of winter's approach, roughly 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Officials advise residents to inspect heating systems, protect outdoor plumbing, and prepare warm clothing, particularly for the elderly and young children. As the cold air mass presses eastward, it will meet warm Atlantic moisture, creating the potential coastal low near the Bahamas or Florida mentioned earlier. The resulting air mass clash could produce widespread heavy rain from Georgia through the Carolinas up into Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and New York. Rainfall totals could reach 100 to 150 millimeters, 4 to 6 inches. Locally over 200 millimeters, 8 inches. Accompanied by gusts up to 80 kilometers per hour, 50 miles per hour, and 3 meter, 10 ft, surf along coastal zones. If this system slows near high tide, tidal flooding and beach erosion could become serious concerns. Localized spin-up tornadoes within embedded thunderstorms are also possible over the weekend. Authorities urge caution for travelers along coastal routes and recommend staying updated with local NWS alerts. Large-scale climate background, the MJO and late-season tropical boost. The Madden-Julian Oscillation, MJO, is now entering its rising phase over the eastern Pacific, Caribbean, and Atlantic, promoting enhanced convection and cyclone formation. Between October 7th and 17th, these basins will remain in the most favorable zone for tropical development, meaning 2 to 3 new tropical systems could still emerge during this window. Afterward, the MJO is expected to weaken briefly around October 20th, bringing a short lull before re-strengthening again late in the month, suggesting the 2025 hurricane season is far from over. Canada and northern U.S. first hints of winter. While southern regions brace for tropical rains, eastern Canada is preparing for its first widespread cold and wet spell of the season. Across Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, rainfall totals of 15 to 30 millimeters are forecast, locally higher due to the Fundy Bay topography. In Newfoundland, gusty winds and heavier rain are expected, with snow flurries possible above 700 meters, marking one of the earliest signs of winter this year. Halifax is projected to record its lowest temperature since May, confirming that the autumn to winter transition has begun. 10-day U.S. outlook. Over the next 10 days, the U.S. weather map will show a clear contrast. The western half and northern plains will be under high pressure, dry, sunny days, crisp, cool nights, with some early mountain snow. The central and southeastern states will see humid, unsettled conditions, with periods of rain, storms, and gusty winds. The East Coast will become the main focus area by the weekend, as the developing coastal low or small tropical storm brings heavy rain and coastal hazards from Florida to New England. The Southwest will continue to benefit from Priscilla's leftover moisture, easing drought but raising the flash flood risk in canyon areas. In short, the U.S. will be split in two, half under cold Arctic influence, half under tropical stormy skies, a perfect reflection of mid-autumn's volatile transition. Preparedness and safety. For residents along the southeast and mid-Atlantic, now is the time to check roofs, drainage systems, and stock essentials in case of prolonged rainfall or brief power outages. Across the Midwest and North, ensure heating systems are ready and vulnerable individuals are protected against the sudden cold. Fishermen and sailors in the Caribbean, Bahamas, and Western Atlantic should follow NHC and NOAA advisories closely, as tropical systems can shift course quickly. Closing message and devotional thought. Dear friends, amid all these dramatic weather shifts, one truth remains: preparation and unity are our best defense. Nature follows its own rhythms, and the more we understand them, the safer we become. Before closing, let us share a passage from the book of Romans, chapter 13, verses 10 to 12. Love does no harm to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfillment of the law. The hour has come for you to wake up from your slumber. because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. The night is nearly over, the day is almost here. So let us put aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. As we face the coming days, of rain, wind, or cold, may each of us hold on to peace, faith, and care for one another. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you found this update helpful, please like, subscribe, and share so others can stay informed. I'm Rusty from Media Mundo, your home for global weather coverage. Wishing you warmth, safety, and blessings ahead. God bless you all.